Football is back. And what a way for us to kick off the season. Many of us saw this game as a blowout, but Dak and the boys had something to say about that. They put on an amazing performance and took it to the defending champions. The Cowboys showed grit and competed, while the Bucs showed us why they're the defending champions. Tom Brady is still playing at a high level, and he found a way to win once again. The only thing that takes away from this was the blatant missed calls on the intentional grounding and the offensive pass interference that should have been called. That would have impacted the final drive. However, this isn't the first time we've seen the refs screw up like this. We're used to it by now, especially when it comes to Brady. It's unfortunate, but that's how it goes. It was a tough loss for the Cowboys, but they proved themselves that night. Pain. All I can describe is pain. A game I thought Washington would win turned into a series of losses and missed opportunities. The defense played great for most of this game. However, they only had two bad drives, the first and the last drive of the game. They even forced Justin Herbert to throw a pick. The defense gave us a chance to win. The offense, however, was a different situation. Fitzpatrick wasn't able to get anything going all day. He couldn't find his receivers and was forced to check it down to Gibson. The O-line also struggled at times, which led to Fitz going down with a hip injury. In comes Heineke, who put up a much better performance. He was able to find both McLaurin and Thomas and led the offense to a couple of solid drives. Unfortunately, the momentum was lost when Gibson fumbled the ball. That gave Herbert and the Chargers a chance to take the lead, a lead that they would hold on to. Great win for the Chargers. I like what I saw from Herbert. He is definitely going to have a great season. As for Washington, we got to bounce back on Thursday night. If you've been paying attention to Russell Wilson over the last couple of seasons, you'll notice that he tends to start off the season firing on all cylinders. This season is no different. He went out there and torched the Colts defense. That secondary was getting cooked by Tyler Lockett, who had himself a day with over 100 yards receiving and 2 touchdown receptions. The connection he and Russ have is something really special. Chris Carson also had a nice day running the ball, and Seattle's defense was putting the pressure on the Colts offense. Carson Wentz had a solid game in his Colts debut. He made a couple of nice throws and made some plays here and there. The O-line didn't have the best of outing when it came to protecting Wentz, so they're going to have to clean some things up. The Colts secondary also has some work to do. You guys, you can't give up a 69-yard touchdown on a 2nd and 20 just before halftime. That play literally changed the game. You could have gone into halftime with this game being much closer. That secondary's got to be better. You've got to be better down the road. Great win for the Seahawks. As for the Colts, you have some work to do. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. This Falcons team is a disgrace. They continue to look like a joke. I don't know what's worse. The fact that this offense put up 6 points despite the weapons they have, or the fact that this defense still can't stop anyone. I don't know what the problem is here. Matt Ryan looked terrible, and at the same time, his O-line couldn't protect him to save their lives. What a complete waste of talent. This team continues to fail as a unit. As for the Eagles, they had a great game. Jalen Hurts was balling out with 3 touchdown passes, and the defense was getting after Matt Ryan and those receivers. They did a great job executing. What a way for the Eagles to start off their season. Great win for them, and embarrassing loss for the Falcons. They have got to get it together. This might be the final season of Matt Ryan in Atlanta. I don't know what to make of this game. What looked to be a dominant display by the Niners turned into one of the craziest series of events I've seen in quite some time. The Lions almost completed the greatest comeback in NFL history. They were down by 24 points with 3 minutes left in the game, and they brought it back down to an 8-point game with a chance to tie and send it into overtime. I don't know if I should be impressed by the Lions' fourth quarter performance or disappointed by how disarrayed the Niners looked. They had that big lead and decided to cruise the remainder of the game. That decision almost cost them there. It just goes to show that the game is never over until the clock reaches 0. Solid win for the Niners in what was a chaotic end to that game. Oh wow. Just when I think the Steelers are done, they pull something like this off. How the hell did they win this game? They're on the road in one of the toughest places to play and going up against the Bills team that was in the AFC Championship game last season. That usually means trouble for the road team, yet it was a Pittsburgh's defense that made it troublesome for the Bills. That defense proceeded to dismantle Josh Allen, and they took over down the stretch. This just goes to show why the Steelers have been and will continue to be an issue in the AFC. This game was wild. Both offenses struggled to put up points. Buffalo was able to take an early 10-point lead, but the Steelers flipped the script by putting up 23 unanswered points. Their biggest play of the game was the punt block that was returned for a touchdown. The Steelers defense traumatized Josh Allen and forced him to fumble the ball. Allen had an awful game. He struggled to get anything going downfield and missed a lot of throws. Ben was average but did just enough to win for the Steelers. What a way for the Steelers to start off the season. As for the Bills, you got to recover. That was not a good way for you guys to start off. Josh Allen did not look great. Just when you think you can trust the Titans, they go out there and play like this. This was an embarrassing loss for them. You have Julio Jones, A.J. Brown, and Derrick Henry, and you play like this? Tannehill couldn't get anything going due to the constant pressure he was dealing with, and Derrick Henry was ineffective for most of the game. Their offense came out there flat. What's scary is how poorly their defense played. Wasn't this secondary supposed to be improved from last season? It didn't look like it, because this secondary was getting exposed by Kyler Murray all day. Kyler had a fantastic day. He was slinging the ball and making big plays all over the field. D-Hop and Christian Kirk had a game to make, man. They were balling out. Each of them had 2 touchdown receptions, and the Cardinals offense was dominating the Titans defense. The Cardinals defense was also dominant as Chandler Jones would put up 5 sacks. This guy would put Tannehill in the torture chamber. I mean, he forced Tannehill to fumble twice alongside those 5 sacks. He's off to a great start this season. What a dominating win for the Cardinals, and what a way for Kyler to start off this season. There are a lot of expectations on the Cardinals, so they're starting off on the right track. As for the Titans, good lord, that was just an embarrassment. Get it together. Well, this was a nice surprise. The Texans went out there and put up a great performance. Tyrod Taylor had a great game where he was slinging the ball and making plays with his legs. He seemed a lot more poised in the pocket than the last time we saw him. So it was clear as day that he has made tremendous improvement in his game. Now, Tyrod's always been a quality starter, but the way he played made him look even better than that. He might be the guy for the Texans moving forward. The defense performed better than I expected. They made it harder for Trevor Lawrence, who had his rookie moment with 3 interceptions on the day. Now, Lawrence had some growing pains, but he also flashed his potential with those 3 touchdown passes. It's going to take him some time to get adjusted to how the NFL is, but he'll start to slowly adjust over time. The Jags defense struggled to make stops and were giving up a lot of big plays. They've got some work to do, and they've got to get better down the stretch. What a win for the Texans. They start off the season right. No one saw this coming. Sam Darnold starts the season off by getting revenge on his old team. I gotta say, I liked what I saw from him. He didn't have an amazing game, but he was poised in the pocket and he made some nice throws. He did what he needed to do to win this game. Christian McCaffrey is still a beast and was a huge contributor in the run and pass game. He looks just as great as he was before the injury, so it's going to be fun watching him this season. CMC is back and I can't wait to see what he does. The Panthers defense was prominent in this game as they pressured Zach Wilson all day. They made it tough for the rookie. Now, Zach managed to put up a good showing despite his O-line giving him no help. The way he was dodging the pressure and making plays was something special to see. Jets fans gotta love what they saw from him. Corey Davis also had a great day with nearly 100 yards receiving and 2 touchdown receptions. He's going to be a huge contributor for the Jets this season. The Jets defense was okay, but could have performed better. Overall, great performance for the Panthers. They are starting off right, and Sam Darnold, we'll see what he can do. As for Zach, keep building, young guy. Keep building. Now, this was the most underrated game of the week. The Vikings and Bengals went at it, and Cincinnati was able to get the win in overtime. Both Cousins and Burrow put on a show and had some great throws. I was really impressed with how Burrow played coming off of his injury. He was dealing to Higgins and Jamar Chase, who had a beautiful grab for that 51-yard touchdown. That's a great way to shut up the critics that were coming after him for the drops. Way to go for the young guy. Adam Thielen also had a great performance for the Vikings as he and Cousins connected for a pair of touchdowns. He was doing his thing. I love the competitiveness I saw from both these teams, and I'm interested to see what a healthy Burrow can do this season for the Bengals. Great win for the Bengals, tough loss for the Vikings, but hey, he'll be able to bounce back next week, hopefully. Coming into this season, I said that the pressure would be on Daniel Jones to deliver with these new weapons. That remains to be the case, and he is off to a rough start. He wasn't the best in this game, and would often miss throws that he has to make. I'm not sure if it's him or the play calling, but this offense shouldn't be as ineffective as they looked. Sterling Shepard had a great outing with over 100 yards receiving and a touchdown. Galladay and Slayton made some nice plays but couldn't get anything going in the red zone. The worst part was Saquon, who was completely ineffective with 26 rushing yards on 10 carries. They need to figure this out. Their secondary also didn't execute well, as they were letting Teddy Bridgewater connect with his guys downfield. I like what I saw from Bridgewater in this game. And this Broncos team is looking nice so far. Melvin Gordon was running the ball effectively, and the defense was making stops. Great way for the Broncos to start off their season. As for the Giants, you've got to figure out this offense situation because the O-line's not doing well. Daniel Jones has to make the plays, and Saquon, he's not even running the ball effectively. Something has got to change. Make the changes, guys. Make the changes, Giants. You got to. This game can be described in 2 words: growing pains. Mac Jones, in his first NFL start, played well but made some bad throws. He showed some potential, but he still has some room to grow. I expect him to get more comfortable with the pace of the NFL as his rookie season continues. The same can be said for Tua. A lot of expectations and criticism has fallen on his shoulders coming into this season, and he has to show that he can be the guy for the Dolphins. His performance wasn't the best display of that, but he managed to get the job done. I expect him to improve because the pressure is on him. The running game was more prominent for the Patriots as Damian Harris ran for over 100 yards. The defense was stout for both teams in this game as they did not give up a lot of big plays. In the end, Miami held on and got the win. Tough loss for the Patriots, but some upside in Jones' performance. He's doing well, and I like what I've seen from him so far. As for Tua, step your game up, man. I believe in you. I can't even front. This looked like a preview of the AFC Championship game. Cleveland came out there and played with a level of aggression I've never seen from them before. The Browns came out there aggressive to start the game. They took an early 15-3 lead. Baker and the offense were working like a machine and were able to be effective in both the run and pass game against that Chiefs defense. Chubb was also doing his thing with nearly 100 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. The Browns had complete control of this game for 3 quarters. However, things are never that easy when it comes to the Chiefs. They're so used to playing from behind that it's a part of their game plan at this point. Patrick Mahomes was Patrick Mahomes. Travis Kelce was Travis Kelce. And Tyreek Hill was Tyreek Hill. That trio is the most dangerous offensive unit in the league. They went off and brought the Chiefs back in this game. Cleveland had this game, but the turnovers killed them. From the Chubb fumble to the muff punt, which was a complete boneheaded decision by the punter. He could have just picked it up and kicked it, but he wanted to be dumb. And of course, Baker's interception. That didn't really look like he was throwing to somebody, but at the end of the day, he's just got to hold on to that ball. He can't throw it like that. Things went bad quickly for the Browns, and it completely shifted this game. At the end of the day, the Chiefs got the victory. Once again, the Chiefs find a way to win games. What a win for the Chiefs. What a heartbreaking loss for the Browns. You know, I've been watching Aaron Rodgers for his entire career, and I can honestly say that this was the worst performance he's ever had. I've never seen Rodgers play this poorly. He looked like he didn't care out there. His decision making was so awful, and those 2 picks should have been avoided if he does what he usually does, which is throw the ball away. Yet he decided to take those risks, and it cost him. I don't know what was wrong with Rodgers. Did he not care? Was he not ready? I do not know. That was a terrible game by the Packers. They looked like they didn't come to play. The Saints completely dominated them. Jameis Winston came out there and balled out with 5 touchdown passes. He was something special. Not only that, but he was something we're not used to saying with Jameis. Efficient. The Saints were effective on both sides of the ball, and they took over this game. What a way for the Saints to start this season. What a way for Jameis to start this season. I'm expecting big things from Jameis, and if he can continue to play like this, the Saints are going places this season. As for the Packers, get your crap together. There is no excuse for Aaron Rodgers to play like this. That was a joke. This game was all about one man, Matthew Stafford. He had a great performance in his Rams debut. You can tell that he's so much happier in LA, and he played like it. He understands that he has a great opportunity to compete for a championship and win a Super Bowl with this team. The Rams played great defense and was putting the pressure on Andy Dalton, and the offense was making big plays. They look ready to compete, and I can't wait to see how this Rams team is going to fare in the NFC West. As for the Bears, they looked confused on defense. They gave up a big play to Cooper Kupp, who was wide open by 10 plus yards. You cannot do that as a unit. That secondary was lost the whole night. They continued to give up big plays. They got to get their crap together, because that is not what the Bears defense should look. The offense also couldn't do anything with Andy Dalton. At this point, the Bears need to stop wasting time. You're not winning anything significant with Andy Dalton. It's time to stop wasting time and to start Justin Fields, because you're not going to do anything moving forward with Dalton. You're not winning a championship with him. So go ahead and start Justin Fields. Great win for the Rams. Tough loss for the Bears. They need to figure out their situation on offense in terms of the quarterback situation. Get it together, Bears, and get it together now. Words cannot describe how embarrassed I was to watch that pathetic display in the fourth quarter. I cannot believe the Ravens blew a 14-point lead and played so poorly in the fourth quarter. Lamar Jackson throwing the ball actually showed improvement when he had time to throw. The offensive line could not protect him the whole entire game. Alejandro Villanueva was piss poor. The entire offensive line was poor as a unit. Defensively, they were playing well for the first 3 quarters, but they failed to make adjustments in the fourth quarter, and it cost them to give up 17 unanswered points. The O-line wasn't playing well. The defense was struggling in the fourth. Lamar couldn't get anything effective going, even though our wide receivers actually played well. Sammy Watkins and Hollywood Brown showed up. And had Lamar had more time to throw, he probably would have been able to hit his targets. Mark Andrews had a little bit of a rough day, but I expect him to bounce back. As for the Raiders, man, Derek Carr, he had his moments, and he made a lot of great plays. That touchdown pass in overtime was savage, and the way he was able to get it done, that was just beautiful. The Raiders know what they have to do this season. They've got to make the playoffs. So they're starting off the season right. Great win for the Raiders. As for Baltimore, get your crap together, because this was terrible. Fix that offensive line, get your crap together on defense, and figure out what you're going to do moving forward, because that was an embarrassing display. What an embarrassing loss for the Ravens.